I had a flat tire a couple years ago and got towed into a tire store down in the Bakersfield area. Of course, I was on the freeway out in the middle of nowhere when the tire went out. And they put a new tire on and everything was fine. Continued my trip, and here it is 2 years later. I started noticing some vibrating in the wheels. So I take my car in the shop and found out that the tire that I was given by this tire store was brand new at the time, and it's only been two years, and I don't drive that many miles on this car. The tire was actually coming apart. And what they told me was, because I went to the same company, just different location, they told me that original tire that I was given 2 years ago is actually 10 years old, and they weren't supposed to put that on a tire because the tire was too old to be used again. And that just kind of reminded me of some of the clients that come into my office with insurance agents who sold them an IUL as an example. This is really where the biggest problem is, or they give them a VUL, a product that is based on the market. It's a life insurance policy based on the market, but they have to be designed a certain way. And I'm seeing a lot of people come into my office or call me because they have an old IUL policy that was issued to them. I'll give you a perfect example. One of my clients, they're actually not clients because they ended up not being able to afford to get a new policy. They were given an IUL back in the 80s when they were young, 30 years ago. And when they were in their 30s, everything was fine. And the insurance agent didn't inform them on how the IUL works. And with an indexed universal life policy, they have to be built properly. They have to be built in such a way that you're putting maximum amount of premium into the policy, and you have to have the minimum amount of death benefit allowed. But what's happening is people are coming to me saying, hey, I have this old IUL policy and I'm only paying, in this case it was $120 a quarter, right? Less than $500 or $600 a year, all right? And it was for a $350,000 death benefit. Well, that's not enough premium to allow this policy to work. Now, the policy stood in place and the death benefit was the same throughout the 30 years. So they had the policy. The problem is now, as they're in their early 60s, getting ready to retire and looking at the money that they're going to need to retire on and what their expenses are, they found out that this policy is no longer going to survive. And every year, starting this year, the premiums are going to go up. And actually, because they are paying quarterly, their new agent, because the original agent that sold them this policy is retired, okay, they're not held accountable for what they did. They didn't inform my former clients, potential clients, how the policy worked, and didn't inform them that, hey, you want to make sure you load this up as much as possible so that when you get into your later years it's still around. Didn't tell them anything about that. I explained all that stuff to them. Like, well, I didn't know this. I wouldn't have bought this policy if I knew this. And now they don't know what their premiums are going to be. And they're going to increase every year, they were told. This is why you need somebody who doesn't have to worry about telling you what you want to hear. You want somebody who tells you the truth. You want someone who tells you the positive and the negative about the strategies that are introduced to you. So if any of this information resembles what you've gone through, or you have a friend or family member who's gone through this, let me know, send me a message, see if I might be able to help them out.